Take us inside the building, Jake.
Let's talk hockey.
Oh, boy, which part? It's hard. I said I don't do sad. I don't do bad news. I don't do any of that. And
even after your parents.
Yeah,
both of them. Wow.
Yeah, wow. I didn't know how we were going to start this morning. And how about a fastball high and tight? I love it. No, that's precisely how it was. I mean, man, the way that game started, the quick hook. I mean, you blinked and it was a punch to the face. There's no other way to explain it.
What did you think of Oettinger being pulled? Talk to us about how often this happens with goaltenders, how often goaltenders can come back from this, whether it leads to a divorce with the head coach with the bitter feelings, because your boy Ray Ferraro, who you were almost able to get on the show, he defended it, and Sean McDonough was not having it upstairs in the booth.
Yeah, it's because pulling the goalie is not foreign. Obviously, that happens, and to spark the team, and that's, I understand all of that, but that quickly, with that much of a knee-jerk reaction is what it felt like to me. But
it was 2-0.
It was 2-0 after two shots.
But think 4-0.
Think of how much time is left in that game, and think of what gives you the best chance to win. Is it Casey DeSmith between the pipes, who hasn't played in dang near a month, or is it the guy that got you there?
Yeah.
And you can't.
See, I don't look at it like that in a vacuum. I look at it as what gives us the best chance to win. A better individual goaltender in Jake, but a flat team versus a drop-off, but maybe a team who gets lifted.
Very, very fair, very fair. And I call the timeout, shake some face masks, wake him up. But is Jake Oettinger the one that took a penalty 2 minutes into the game? Is Jake Oettinger out of position defensively in the penalty kill? Cody Ceci, who I'm not pointing him out and calling him out as an individual because he's the reason they lost the game. He was a reason that Edmonton scored that first goal on the power play. So there's multiple factors at play here, and to single out the guy that got you there and pull him in a public way like that, which again, there's no other way to pull a goalie early like that. That's going to be the talking point. But at the same time, that sends such a loud and clear message. And I heard you guys talking about the post-game comments because I'm dialed into the post-game. I was so curious. What's the rationale? What's the explanation going to be? And I forget who said it. Might have been you, Bobby, that said, he could have said, we needed a spark. Okay, there it is. We needed a spark. But the double down, deep dive into he's lost 6 of the last 7, and some of them factual, but it was very much this is why I did this. I am not backing down one bit. And in the heat of the moment, I'm thinking, oh boy, the fork in the road between DeBoer and Oettinger's getting, that gap's getting larger and larger in the midst of that post-game presser. That was my thought.
How often does this happen? I mean, goaltenders get pulled. Can you think of instances where there was no going back?
Yeah. Patrick Waugh comes to mind because obviously he's a Hall of Famer and has gone on to coach in the league, and he was in a Game 7 for the Colorado Avalanche against the Detroit Red Wings in 2002, and he got absolutely boat raced in the opening period and gets pulled. And that was the end of it in Colorado. So that's the one that comes to mind. And obviously, legendary career for him.
They've all been pulled.
Right. And I think you even said that, Choppy.
Then why are we talking about divorce? Why are we being that dramatic with it?
Because in the heat of an elimination game, which, again, 2 shots into the game, I think that's so important because it wasn't like, I'll use that same example, when Patrick Waugh was pulled in that first period in a Game 7 situation in the conference finals, it was after 4 or 5 goals. It was enough of a sample size where he doesn't have it tonight. And to make that declaration that Oettinger didn't have it after 2 shots.
But Jake, was he making the declaration on break up the pie of Jake isn't good enough tonight versus that's the move for a team spark?
Because
when you pull a goalie, it's not always just because the goalie doesn't have it. It's also to light a fire under the team.
Right.
Did.
And that's why I think we're saying the same thing here, because that's where, if that's the rationale, sure. but I didn't feel like the explanation post-game met that rationale. I felt the explanation post-game was more personal, was we can't win with this guy. I heard somebody use the term, he's a 3-round fighter. He can go 3 rounds, but he doesn't have whatever it is to get you over the hump. And you could say the same thing about Pete DeBoer. I mean, look at his resume. He's a 3-round coach in the playoffs. He gets to the conference finals, but he can't get over that hump. And is it because of Jake Oettinger? Are there other factors? But my biggest takeaway, and I think we are saying the same thing here, is the rationale, the explanation post-game did not meet hey, we just needed a spark. Because I get that. You can't pull Cody Ceci. You can't pull Maverick Bork. Those are 2 guys that made really costly mistakes early.
Jake Riepma in studio. He was at the AAC last night. No, there's no hypeness. You can't be this excited this morning.
I'm not excited. I'm just a lot of things, man. It's the last Stars recap. I'm emotional.
And your morning show time's about to end.
I know. I'm gonna miss you guys, man. I'm gonna miss you guys. Dallas Stars.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. All right, so we were doing some research on here to the goaltenders. So we found out Belichick hates quarterbacks, right? We learned that through a lot of these different documentaries. He's super hard on Brady and other quarterbacks. So we've been looking up some stuff, Jake. Pete DeBoer has an awful relationship history with goalies, apparently. Marc-Andre Fleury, he apparently drove him off in Vegas. Logan Thompson said he felt like he was left off the Four Nations because of his cold relationship with Pete DeBoer. Even the guy that he liked a lot, Robin Leonard. Robin Leonard, when he got shut down for the season a couple years ago, Pete DeBoer said, and I quote, the announcement speaks for itself. I'm concerned about the guys that are here battling with us here tonight. And there's all these responses in the news story of going like, death taxes and Pete DeBoer being a D to his own goaltender. So is there just some sort of issue that Pete DeBoer has with his goaltenders?
I think there's a lot of stock to put into that because of the history like you just outlined, which kudos to you. Excellent work there. And Marc-Andre Fleury was a guy that I thought of immediately, a guy who's had a decorated career and so much success everywhere he's been besides with Pete DeBoer. And you maybe not even say no success because depending on your perspective, okay, getting to the conference finals, you're one of the 4 teams left. There's an element of success there. But absolutely, I think there's this disdain and this where the rubber meets the road between Pete DeBoer and goalies, and it's such an important individual position in the sport. The quarterback comparison is really the only thing that you can think of, and as far as making an analogy to another sport, because you're just reliant upon one player to do such a specific task in a different skill set that is different than every other player on the ice.
Goalies, pitchers, kickers. They're the weird people. They're weird. Like look at how weird Hellebuck is. You want to smack them.
Andre just needs to do more eye exercises.
They're just all a little goofy.
Do you think Pete DeBoer is in trouble?
Yes. I don't. Trouble might be the wrong way to put it. I think it's going to be a compelling offseason for a lot of reasons. Put the coach at the top of the list, that dynamic with him and Jake Oettinger. Because Jake Oettinger's, he's not going anywhere. 8-year extension this year. Let's not forget about that. 2033. 2033, Jake Oettinger's your goalie. You say, I think he's one of the best goalies in the world.
No, I'm not saying over that. It's just like, all right, that's a factor.
Right.
I'm looking more at 5 games and out, and it should have been a sweep over him and Oettinger. You know,
look at the whole playoffs too.
Yeah, there's
he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't great in this postseason.
You talking about Jake?
Yeah, I mean, he had moments where
he was good at home though. And that was a pretty
great.
Quick,
but I mean,
you're at home last night. No, but I'm saying you're at home last night. That's a pretty quick hook for being at home when one of them's a power play goal and one of them's a defensive breakdown.
That's my point exactly. It was such a quick hook.
Yes, there's better.
But no, it was such a quick hook where the game hadn't even developed. I mean,
but what about
people were still getting their popcorn, getting their seated.
But what about DeBoer just losing in 5? They got worked the way they did. He's got this stigma of not breaking through the conference finals. How do you look at that if you're Jim Nill?
Boy, it's the loyalty component of it is certainly the first thing that comes to mind because
and why do hockey coaches this crazy, insane turnover?
Oh, it's quick.
Why?
It happens. That's a great question. I mean, I wish I had the answer, but Mike Sullivan's an example who and all kinds of success with the Penguins. He's fired and hired with the Rangers quickly. Peter Laviolette, also fired from his time with the Rangers. They set a franchise record for wins 2 years ago. I mean, it happens quick. John Tortorella.
Edmonton fired their goalie. They fired their coach last year.
Yeah.
Like 30 games in. We've seen teams fire their coach a dozen or so games before the playoffs. They did in the NBA this year.
Yeah.
And those guys go on. Was it like Larry Robinson won the cup one year? Like they just out of nowhere, they just fired their coach. No, okay, this guy.
Right, and so much of it is if you're getting the best out of the guys in that dressing room, and some of that is reflective upon the players. I know I was critical of Jamie Benn and his leadership, and he's a guy that, I talked about those off-season questions. That's at the top of the list. People are asking, he's an unrestricted free agent now, and did he play his last game in a Stars uniform? So there's the DeBoer component of it all. There's a lot of big names that are unrestricted free agents, and the NHL being a salary cap league. Now, the salary cap is going up $7.5 million, so teams will have more to spend. But that being said, there is a long list. Jamie Benn, Matt Duchene, Evgeny Dadonov.
Where was Duchene? Didn't he lead them in points this season?
That's another point. The depth scoring for the Stars absolutely disappeared in this series against Edmonton. You give them a little bit of credit, but Edmonton's depth scoring showed up. The Stars did not. Edmonton's goaltending showed up. The Stars left some to be desired.
Jake Riepma in studio, back from the AAC here on 105 through the Fan. What else is on the offseason list? What is this team missing?
I think loading up defensively. You saw I used Cody Ceci as an example, and that was an in-season acquisition from San Jose, and he's an unrestricted free agent. I think you ask a lot of Stars faithful, he might have played his last game in a Stars uniform, kind of a short-term experiment that unfortunately didn't work out. And obviously when you load up with the contract with Mikko, I mean, it limits some of your options, but there's some really good free agents that are on the market. A lot of them forwards, but there are some defensemen out there as well. And so it's one of those interesting off seasons where you got your guys. These are, Jamie Benn, that's your guy. He's a captain. You got a lot of these guys that have proven themselves with Dallas, but has father time caught up to guys like Tyler Seguin. That's Evgeny Dadonov. These are guys in their mid-30s. So it's only Jim Nill can answer that question.
Spittle texted, this happened with DeBoer in Vegas with Marc-Andre Fleury, caused tension, and DeBoer was let go eventually. What else you got in your notes?
The Mikko stuff is interesting because I think you got to give him a salute. 80 career playoff assists after last night. He's the third fastest in NHL history to 80 playoff assists. Only two faster, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Oh.
Now, this is really interesting, the breakdown of it all, though. 17 of his 22 playoff points, 5-game period. So 17 points in 5 games in these playoffs, and then just 5 points in the other 13 games. So just the discrepancy of it all. I don't know, make heads or tails of it other than it's worth noting there. How about some good news, though? Can we get to some good news? Come on. Please. We got to get to some good news. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman in the building last night, all but pretty much guaranteed that Dallas is going to have some sort of marquee event, and he didn't limit it to an outdoor event, so that's got the wheels turning. Could it be bigger than the Cotton Bowl was the question that he was asked, and he left some curiosity to build with that. So I think
Stadium Series action.
Yeah, I think there could be something coming quickly. AT&T. Yeah, sooner rather than later. Which again, good news. I only do positivity in the morning.
Great stuff, brother. Enjoyed having you throughout the entire playoff.
Gonna miss you guys, man.
I know.